Welcome back. This is part 2 of the Parallax StingRay review. What I like to do is I like to emphasize on the kit themselves rather than the presentation. As you can see, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to follow the included manual that came with the robot kit. It's fairly simple to read, very illustrated, nicely organized. Again, all these manuals are included online as well for download in case you lose them or in case your kit does not include it. But this was nicely and neatly printed out for us and stapled together and provided with the kit. Nice thing about this kit that I'm seeing right off the bat, we've gone through quite a bit of these kits, it's nicely labeled. A lot of times they'll just tell you, oh, you have to plug in a standoff and do this over here. A lot of people don't know what they are. Now, when you get to page, let's see what page this is. Looks like page 21. That's an example of how well illustrated this is. They're showing you exactly the components and what the screws look like. All this is very important. You know, I've often found myself putting something together and not knowing that was the exact piece that goes there. It's clear to me that this looks like it might be a good experience, well illustrated. I'm not going to actually go through this and talk about this manual. What I'm actually going to do is start by building the robot. That's why we have you here on our workspace. But I wanted you to get familiarized with the manual that we're going to be using so you can see and compare it to your own notes. As you can see, again, this is the beginning part of it. StingRay Robot, number 28980. Nothing more about that. I'm going to put this off to the side now, and I'm just going to basically open it up. Okay, so let's open it up. And basically, I'm going to look here at what the additional tools that are required. So remember what I spoke about earlier. A screwdriver is what we're going to be needing for sure. Safety glasses I highly recommend. And a small pair of needle nose pliers. So I'm going to go over here to my little tool kit, pick out some needle nose pliers. Now what I do for the needle nose pliers, I actually have one of these multi-purpose tools, simply because I'm always finding myself switching between tools quickly. It's got a knife, got a couple other things. If you check out our tutorial on what tools you should use for building robots, you'll find this is one of the highlighted items. Cheap, Home Depot, $5. Now the next thing it says is O-ring pliers, if you have them. These are optional, but make things easier. Well, we don't have O-ring pliers, so we're going to go with this. And I'm going to take a hunch that we're probably going to need some wire strippers, because I've always needed my trusty wire strippers. This has a wire cutter on it, but I'm going to go ahead and include my other wire cutters. And I think that'll be about it. You might see me whip out another screwdriver to get a better grip. That's simply because my hands are too big for this tool sometimes, so I switch out to the other one. So I'm going to put these aside over here for now. So that's basically it. First page shows us an exploded view. As you can see right here, it's an exploded view of what this is going to look like. And we're going to move on to the actual first step. So step 1 is the chassis assembly. Alright, so for the chassis assembly, I'm going to need to take out a whole bunch of parts here because that's actually in the bottom of the box. I'm going to put all these pieces over here for now. Now basically just removing the parts from the robot kit, from the box itself, getting ready to build the kit itself. See what I can do. I like to have a clean, open workspace. What I suggest you do is you have the same. Now during this phase, you should not have to worry much about anything, breaking on you electronics-wise, things like that. What I would recommend, again, big open space, because you will be building everything that comes in your kit, and this is actually the easiest part of the experience. Actually, it's one of my favorite parts because you don't have to think that much. Makes it easy. So you just kind of unwind and build the kit and not really do too much about it. So I'm going to have to wheel over here. Here we go. Now, as you can see, just kind of overview of what we have as we open it up. This looks like the bottom or the top. I'm not sure. The bottom and the top both look identical to me right now. So these are nice, high-grade aluminum black. Looks very nice. If you're doing some kind of a demonstration with this will look really interesting. Definitely will set you aside the other robot kits. We've built other robot kits. Sometimes the kits are just ugly. They're not finished. This is clearly something that's been well thought out. All the holes pre-drilled for us. And as you can see, they both look identical. So for now, we'll just go with that. Now these going by the picture, basically I'm going to form like a wall, and you'll just basically sandwich these two pieces on top. See, these will actually go all around here like this. So it looks like we're going to have to do quite a bit of screwing in here. You're going to have to forgive me as I kind of unwrap these things and get them ready. These all look the same. Let's see, are they? They do all look the same. So if I notice anything different, I'll separate them, but for now I'm going to try to stack them all in the same stack. All of these look the same to me. Now here's one that's different, obviously. Not sure what that's for, but I can bet you anything this is going to be for the wheels. Now again, I want to be clear that I've never constructed this kit. This is my first time doing it, and I haven't read up on this or figured this out ahead of time. I'm actually figuring this all out as we go. So the reason why I'm saying that is so you get an understanding of how easy this actually is to build. Now I can clearly see, just by taking these apart and looking at a picture in the manual, that these here are going to be used to go all around the unit except for these two, on these two spots where the wheels are going to go. The reason why is when I look at these things, it's clear to me that there's going to be a motor mount here or something, whereas these will not. Even though these have a hole in them, this looks more like a sensor or something else we might want to mount in there. Now, again, don't go what I'm saying right now. Let's see when I start building it, see what actually happens. One piece here, I have no idea what it's for, but we're going to find out when we build it. And the last piece here, and this is clearly the piece where the little wheel in the back goes, is this one. So there you have it. Now those are all the components here that we have. Now I know for a fact we're going to go ahead and need our hardware bag, which is this one. Hasn't said that yet in the manual, but I know I'm going to need to open this one up. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take one of these, put the other one aside for now. I'm going to move these aside to reduce the clutter. So we're going to start off with this one here. It says we're going to need 5 of these. We need 5 of these here. 2 of the motor mounts, exactly right. So these were the motor mounts, in fact. So they're telling me is the motor mounts, and these are the sensor mounts. The tail wheel plate. That looks like it for now, and this is a chassis plate. Yeah, the big chassis plate is what they're calling this. So let's go ahead and open these up. Separate the things that are in here. I'm not going to be needing all these right off the bat, I know that. So I just don't want to get them all confused and mix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put away a lot of these things, like these prototyping boards. And these things I don't need right now, but I'm going to need them. And the screws here will be put away. Looks like we have some more components here that we'll be using. I'm going to put these in the bag because I don't need them at this moment. Remember, we're just constructing the actual chassis. Do not get into the electronics at this point in the game. It's way too early, especially if this is the first time you're building a robot kit. Now, it says we're going to need a hex key. Where's that hex key? Well, it appears that we have an additional tool. So, not only are we going to need, let's see, what are these guys? I'm not quite sure. Not only are we going to need our trusty screwdriver, we're going to need a hex key. Make sure we have that, and there we go. Oftentimes I find that these hex keys are always in the kit, but what I would recommend is check for them first before you start taking all the screws out, because sometimes they do not include them. So that's 2 tools that we're going to need. And we're going to need 16 screws, black button socket caps, 440. 440 is the size, and that's typically what you find in a lot of these robot kits is 440 is the normal thread. And they're black. So this one has another Allen key, 2 different sizes, so let's see what size we're going to have to use here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to spill these out here. Normally I would organize these, but I'm not going to bore you with those details. So let's get started. Which side should I start on? Well, considering that they're both identical, there's no difference from what I can see.